and massive sensor arrays of Station Prime detected something impossible. Deep in the void between star systems, where nothing should exist, a ship moved through space. It wasn't using any known faster-than-light technology. It wasn't broadcasting any identification codes. Most disturbing of all, it was heading straight for the heart of the Galactic Empire. Commander Vex stood before the holographic display, his 4 arms crossed in confusion. The Galactic Empire controlled 10,000 star systems. They had conquered every species they encountered. Their technology was supreme, their military unmatched. Yet this single ship, barely the size of a patrol cruiser, approached their capital without fear. What do we know about this vessel? Vex asked his tactical officer. Officer Krell pulled up the data. Sir, the ship appears primitive. Metal hull, no energy shields visible. Propulsion system is ... chemical? That can't be right. Chemical propulsion? Vex's scales turned purple with amusement. They're using ancient rocket technology to cross interstellar space? How is that even possible? Unknown, sir. But there's more. Krell hesitated. The ship is broadcasting something. Not a communication exactly. It's music? The bridge fell silent as Krell played the transmission. Strange sounds filled the air, rhythmic, powerful, almost primal. The universal translator couldn't process it as language, only as organized sound patterns. Sir, the science officer interrupted, I'm detecting life signs aboard the vessel. Single species, bipedal, carbon-based. Database has no match. Vex's amusement faded. An unknown species? That was impossible. The Empire had mapped every corner of the galaxy. Every intelligent species was either part of the Empire or extinct. How long until they reach our defense perimeter? At their current speed, 6 hours, sir. Send 3 battleships to intercept. Tell them to disable and capture. I want to know who these creatures are. The Imperial battleships moved into position, each one a kilometer long and bristling with weapons. They could destroy moons, shatter asteroids, and had conquered hundreds of worlds. Surely one small, primitive ship would surrender immediately, but the unknown vessel didn't slow down. It didn't change course. It kept coming, that strange music still broadcasting across all frequencies. Admiral Tor commanded the lead battleship. Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted space. Stop immediately, or we will open fire. The response came in perfect galactic standard, though no translator was needed. The voice was calm, almost friendly. Greetings, Galactic Empire. This is Captain James of the Earthship Pioneer. We're here to talk. Earth? Tor searched his database. No such planet existed in any records. You will stop your vessel immediately. I'm afraid I can't do that, Admiral. You see, we've been watching you for quite some time. Your empire has been expanding toward our space. We thought it was time to introduce ourselves. The arrogance stunned Tor. This primitive ship, facing 3 battleships, spoke as equals? He gave the order. Warning shots. Show them our power. Plasma beams lanced through space, passing meters from the human ship. Each beam could vaporize asteroids. The human ship didn't even flinch. That's quite a light show, Admiral, Captain James said, his voice still calm. Our turn. What happened next would be remembered as the moment everything changed. The small human ship did something impossible. It disappeared. Not cloaked, not hidden. It simply stopped existing in one place and appeared in another, now behind the Imperial fleet. Impossible. Tor roared. No one has teleportation technology. It violates the laws of physics. Your laws of physics, Captain James corrected. We play by different rules. The human ship flickered again, appearing beside Tor's battleship. Then above it. Then below. Each time, It broadcast its position openly, as if showing off. How? Vex watched from Station Prime in horror. How are they doing this? The answer would shake the Empire to its core. Humanity had never been conquered because humanity had never been found. They had hidden in a small, unremarkable solar system, watching the galaxy tear itself apart in endless wars. And while the Empire built bigger weapons and faster ships, humans had done something else entirely. They had broken reality itself. Asterisk. The Imperial War Council assembled in emergency session. 100 of the Empire's greatest military minds, representing 50 different species, gathered in the Grand Chamber of Station Prime. The holographic display showed the human ship, still impossibly teleporting around the defense fleet. Explain this technology, demanded Supreme Commander Zorn, his massive frame towering over the other counselors. Our scientists say it's impossible. The Empire's chief scientist, Dr. Yara, trembled as she spoke. Supreme Commander, the humans aren't using technology as we understand it. They're folding space itself. Folding space? They're not moving through space. They're bringing their destination to them. It requires energy levels that should destroy any ship, yet their vessel shows no signs of straying. Zorn slammed his fist on the table. Then we'll overwhelm them with numbers. Send the entire Third Fleet. 1,000 ships. But Captain James had been listening. Every communication, every secret transmission, the humans heard it all. Supreme Commander Zorn, the human's voice echoed through the chamber, though no one had opened a channel. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Panic erupted. Their most secure facility had been breached without any sign of intrusion. How are you doing this? Zorn roared. The same way we do everything else. We learned. You see, Supreme Commander, humanity has been watching your empire for 300 years. We've studied every battle, every conquest, every weapon you've created. Impossible. We would have detected you. Would you? Your empire is vast, but you all think the same way. Bigger ships, stronger weapons, more soldiers. You never considered that someone might take a different path. The human ship suddenly appeared directly above Station Prime, inside the defensive shields that should have been impenetrable. We could have revealed ourselves at any time, Captain James continued. But we waited. We wanted to be sure. Sure of what? Yara asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. Sure that you could be reasoned with. Your empire conquers through force, but you do maintain order. You do protect the species under your rule. We respect that. But Earth and humanity will never be conquered. Zorn stood, his full 3-meter height meant to intimidate. You have one ship. We have millions. Do we have one ship? James asked, and his tone carried something new. Amusement. The sensor arrays of Station Prime suddenly screamed alerts. Ships were appearing throughout the system. Not arriving, not dropping from hyperspace, simply appearing. 10, then 50, then hundreds. Each one small, each one impossible. We call this fleet Whisper Squadron, James explained. Because you'll never hear us coming. The Imperial forces scrambled to respond, but how do you fight an enemy that doesn't follow the laws of physics? The human ships danced through space, appearing and disappearing at will. They didn't fire a single weapon, but the message was clear. Dr. Yara was the first to understand. They're not here to fight. They're here to demonstrate. Correct, Doctor, James confirmed. We have no interest in destroying your empire, but we need you to understand something. Earth is off limits. Our solar system is protected. Any ship that enters without permission will simply ... cease. Cease? Yara asked. We've learned to do more than fold space, Doctor. We've learned to remove things from it entirely. Peacefully, painlessly, but permanently. The demonstration continued. Human ships appeared inside the hangars of Imperial battleships, then vanished. They materialized in the middle of defensive formations, breaking them apart without firing a shot. They showed they could go anywhere, appear anywhere, and the Empire's greatest defenses meant nothing. But then Captain James did something unexpected. His ship appeared directly in front of Station Prime and stopped teleporting. It just sat there, small and unassuming. "We're transmitting coordinates now," James said. "A neutral zone between Empire space and Earth space. We propose a meeting, not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals." "Equals?" Zorn spat. "You dare?" "Yes, we dare," James interrupted. "Because despite your Empire's flaws, you've brought stability to thousands of worlds. And despite our power, we have no interest in ruling others. We just want to be left alone. But we also think we could learn from each other." The council exchanged glances. No one had ever spoken to the Empire this way and lived. But then again, no one had ever demonstrated such overwhelming technological superiority while choosing not to use it for destruction. "What could we possibly learn from you?" Zorn asked, his anger giving way to curiosity. "How to think differently. Your Empire grew through conquest. We grew through imagination. Imagine what we could accomplish together." The neutral zone coordinates led to an empty region of space, far from any star system. The Empire sent a single diplomatic vessel, accompanied by Admiral Tor and Dr. Yara. They expected to find a massive human fleet waiting for them. Instead, they found a single human ship and something else, a structure floating in the void. It was small, maybe 100 meters across, made of simple metal and glass. It looked like it could be destroyed by a single laser blast. "Welcome to Horizon Station," Captain James transmitted. "Humanity's first diplomatic outpost." Tor was incredulous. "This is your idea of a meeting place? It has no weapons, no shields. Why would it need them?" James replied, "Please, come aboard. We have much to discuss." The Imperial delegation transported to the station, weapons powered but not drawn. They expected a trap. Instead, they found something bizarre, a garden. Inside this small station, humans had created a perfect replica of a planetary ecosystem. Trees grew toward artificial sunlight, water flowed in streams, and the air smelled of flowers. Captain James stood waiting for them. He was smaller than they expected, barely 2 meters tall, with no natural armor, no claws, no visible weapons. By Imperial standards, humans looked weak. "Welcome," James said, smiling. "I thought we should meet face to face." "You're taking a great risk," Tor said. "You're within our reach now." "Am I?" James asked. He gestured, and the space around them shifted. Suddenly, they weren't in the station anymore. They stood on a mountaintop on a planet neither Imperial had ever seen. The sky was blue, the sun yellow, and in the distance, a vast ocean stretched to the horizon. "This is Earth," James said simply. Tor and Yara spun around in shock. "How?" "We were just on a station light years away." "Yes. Distance means nothing to us anymore." James picked up a handful of soil, letting it fall through his fingers. "This is what we protect. This is why we'll never surrender." "Your world is beautiful," Yara admitted, her scientific instruments going wild, trying to understand how they traveled so far instantly. "Every world is beautiful to those who call it home," James said. "That's what your Empire never understood. You conquer worlds, but you don't love them." They were suddenly back in the station. Tor hadn't even felt the transition. "Show us your weapons," Tor demanded. "Show us your fleet's true size." James laughed, a sound that the translator conveyed as genuine mirth. "Admiral, you still don't understand. Our greatest weapon isn't something we fire. It's something we learned. Learned? 300 years ago, humanity discovered something. The universe isn't just matter and energy. It's information. Everything, planets, stars, even people, we're all just information arranged in specific patterns. And once you understand that, ... James held out his hand. A flower appeared in it, created from nothing. You can rewrite reality itself. Yara's scanner confirmed it. The flower was real, down to the molecular level. It had been created from pure nothingness. This is why we don't need large fleets or massive weapons, James continued. We can create or destroy anything by changing its information pattern. We could turn your entire fleet into flowers if we wanted, or simply delete them from existence. Then why haven't you? Tor asked, though he feared the answer. Because we're not monsters. We're explorers, scientists, dreamers. We spent 3 centuries learning to manipulate reality not to conquer, but to understand. We've cured every disease, ended hunger, made death itself optional for our species. We've transcended the need for conquest. Optional death? Yara gasped. We back up our information patterns. If a human dies, we can restore them. We're effectively immortal, though some choose to end their existence eventually. It's about choice, Doctor. Something your empire rarely offers. Tor's military mind was reeling. If you have such power, why reveal yourselves now? Because you're approaching our space. We've hidden Earth in a pocket dimension for centuries, but your expansion would eventually find the entrance. We decided it was better to meet as friends than be discovered as enemies. James gestured, and a table appeared with chairs suited for each species. So, shall we discuss terms? We propose a simple agreement. The Empire stays out of our space, and we'll share some of our less dangerous discoveries. Medical technology, agricultural improvements, things that help but can't be weaponized. And if we refuse? Tor asked. Then we disappear again. But this time, any ship that enters our space never returns. Not destroyed, just relocated to the other side of the galaxy. Unharmed, but very, very lost. Asterisk, the negotiations had continued for 3 days. The Empire had sent more representatives, including Supreme Commander Zorn himself. The humans had revealed more about their civilization, a society of only 12 billion people who had chosen to limit their expansion to preserve their world's beauty. But not everyone in the Empire accepted this new reality. General Cax of the War faction had assembled a secret fleet. 500 ships hidden from the main empire, equipped with experimental weapons designed to disrupt space itself. If the humans could fold space, perhaps they could be stopped by making space unstable. The Empire kneels to no one, Cax declared to his followers. These humans are a threat that must be eliminated. His fleet jumped to hyperspace, heading directly for the coordinates the humans had revealed for Earth's hidden entrance. They would strike before any agreement could be signed, but Captain James was waiting for them. The rebel fleet emerged from hyperspace to find a single human standing in space. Not in a ship, not in a suit, just standing in the vacuum, smiling. General Cax, the human said, his voice somehow reaching every ship. We were wondering when someone would try this. Cax ordered all weapons to fire. Beams that could shatter moons converged on the single human. The space around him writhed with destructive energy. When the mirage ended, the human was still there, untouched. Are you finished? James asked. Good. Now let me show you something. The human raised his hand. Every ship in Cax's fleet suddenly lost power. Not damaged, not destroyed. The energy simply vanished from their systems. You came here with the intention of genocide, James said, his friendly tone gone. That requires a response. The space around the fleet began to change. Stars rearranged themselves, forming words in the void. Violence is the last refuge of the incompetent. But we're not going to hurt you, James continued. Instead, we're going to show you something. Reality shifted. Suddenly, every member of the rebel fleet could see Earth, not from space, but from its surface. They experienced human memories, children playing, artists creating, scientists discovering, families loving. They felt what humans felt, saw what humans saw. They experienced humanity's history. The wars that nearly destroyed them. The moment they chose to change, to seek understanding over dominance. The centuries of growth that followed. We were like you once, James explained, as the visions continued. We thought strength meant destruction. But true strength is the choice not to destroy. General Cax found himself standing in a human home. A family was eating dinner, laughing at some joke he didn't understand. A small human child looked directly at him, though he knew he wasn't really there. Why? Cax asked. Why show us this? Because fear comes from not understanding, James replied. You fear us because we're different. We want you to see that we're not so different after all. The visions ended. The fleet found themselves back in space, their power restored. You could have killed us all, Cax said over the communications channel. Yes, James agreed. But what would that accomplish? You'd be dead, and the Empire would send more ships. The cycle would continue. Instead, we offer you a choice. What choice? Return to the Empire. Tell them what you've seen. Help them understand that we're not a threat unless they make us one. Or continue your attack, and we'll send you home anyway. No one dies today, General. That's not our way. Cax's second-in-command spoke up. General, their power. We can't fight this. But it wasn't the power that had changed Cax's mind. It was the family he'd seen, the child's laughing face. They weren't monsters or gods. They were people who had chosen a different path. Stand down, Cax ordered his fleet. We're returning to Station Prime. As the fleet turned to leave, James called out one more time. General, thank you for choosing wisdom. Your empire could learn much from you. Back at Station Prime, the negotiations took a new turn. Cax's report convinced even the most militant factions that conflict with humanity was impossible and unnecessary. They could destroy us at any time, Cax told the Council. But they choose not to. They've transcended the need for violence. Maybe we should learn how they did it. Dr. Yara presented her findings. The humans are offering to share their medical technology. They can cure every disease known to the Empire. They can extend lifespans indefinitely. They're offering this freely, asking nothing in return except peace. Nothing is free, Zorn said suspiciously. You're right, Captain James said, appearing as a hologram in the chamber. The price is that you have to change how you think. You have to consider that conquest isn't the only path to greatness. 1 year had passed since humanity revealed itself to the Galactic Empire. The changes were subtle at first, then revolutionary. The first human gift was the cure for the Grey Death, a plague that had killed billions across the Empire for centuries. The humans transmitted the cure freely to every world, asking nothing in return. Overnight, humanity became heroes to countless species. Dr. Yara worked closely with human scientists, learning their approaches. They don't just study the universe, she reported to the Council. They have conversations with it. They treat reality as a partner, not a subject. The second gift was agricultural technology that could turn dead worlds into gardens. Barren moons bloomed with life. Worlds that had been stripped by war grew green again. The Empire's food shortages, which had driven many of their conquests, simply ended, but the greatest change wasn't technological. It was philosophical. Human teachers began appearing in Empire schools, not in person, but as holograms that could interact with students. They didn't teach human superiority. Instead, they taught questioning, creativity, imagination. Why must empires expand? A human teacher asked a class of young Zorathians. To grow stronger, a student replied, repeating what they'd always been taught. But what is strength? Is it taking from others, or creating something new? These questions spread through the empire like wildfire. Young people began asking why conquest was necessary when cooperation could achieve more. Supreme Commander. Zorn found himself in regular communication with Captain James. They played a human game called chess, though James had to appear as a hologram since he was still on Earth. Your empire is changing, James observed, moving a piece. You're destroying everything we've built, Zorn replied. But there was no anger in his voice anymore. No, we're helping you evolve it. Your empire doesn't have to fall. It can transform. Into what? A federation. A alliance. A family of worlds working together by choice, not force. Zorn considered this as he studied the board. Some worlds will resist. Some will try to leave. Let them, James suggested. If your empire is truly beneficial, they'll want to stay. If it's not, shouldn't they have the right to leave? It was radical thinking for someone raised in absolute authority. But Zorn had seen what humanity could do. They could force everyone to obey, but they chose freedom instead. Show me, Zorn said finally. Show me Earth as it really is. James smiled. I thought you'd never ask. Reality shifted. Zorn found himself standing on Earth, really there this time. Captain James stood beside him in person for the first time. They were in a city, but unlike any city in the Empire. Buildings grew from the ground like trees, their walls alive with greenery. Vehicles flew silently through the air, but many humans chose to walk in gardens that wove between structures. No weapons, Zorn observed. No military patrols. We don't need them. Crime ended when everyone had enough. Conflict ended when we learned to share thoughts directly, to truly understand each other. They visited a human school where children learned by playing with reality itself, creating miniature stars and planets to understand physics. They saw hospitals where death was treated as a temporary inconvenience. They witnessed art galleries where paintings moved and sang, where sculptures existed in 4 dimensions. This took us 300 years to build, James explained. Not through conquest, but through cooperation. Every human contributes their unique perspective. That's our real strength, diversity of thought. The Empire has diversity. 50 species serve under our flag. Serve, yes. But do they contribute their ideas freely? Or do they simply obey? Zorn had no answer. They returned to Station Prime, where the Council waited. Zorn stood before them, the asterisk,